She flinched like a shoplifter when the buzzer goes off. I pulled into our driveway in Scottsdale at 2 in the afternoon, suitcase still in the trunk because my Phoenix flight got canceled last minute. On the pavers stood my wife, Jenna, dressed like a Friday night. Tight jeans, heels that click, lips glossy. At noon, she'd left the house in leggings and a faded tee to sort the linen closet. Now the sun threw a hard line across her face, and she had the strap of her purse in her fist like it burned. "Groceries," she blurted before I opened my mouth. I watched the empty trunk of her car. No bags. No list in her hand. No reusable totes we keep in the garage. "Where's the food?" I leaned on my car door. I was about to go. I just decided to look decent. "Middle of the day?" I asked. "For onions." She laughed too high. "You notice the weirdest things, Mark. I notice when outfits change and stories don't." Her eyes did a quick sweep of the cul-de-sac, checking houses, as if someone else might step out and catch whatever this was. She reached her key fob and beeped the lock twice, a nervous tick. "You're early," she added. "They canceled Phoenix. Mechanical issue." I nodded at the road. "Lucky me, I get a hot date with the linen closet." That got zero smile. She caught herself, smoothed her hair. "I'll just be quick. Pasta. Vegetables. You want anything?" "Honesty," I said. She froze a half second. "You're being weird." I walked into a different wardrobe and a script that doesn't match. "That's not me being weird. That's me noticing." "Fine. I'll change," she muttered and moved past me, heels clipping the concrete. The smell of her perfume hit, not the daily stuff, the one for events. She paused at the door, tossed over her shoulder. "Don't make a big thing out of nothing." If I'd known where it was headed, I would have taken a picture of the driveway. It was the last time she had home field advantage without a fight. I carried my suitcase inside, left it by the bench, and walked straight to the garage. The light sensor over the door is temperamental when it's humid. It takes a tap. I flicked it on and off twice. It worked. I shut it down, stood in the dim, and let the silence tell me more than her lines did. By evening, the temperature dropped the way desert nights do, straight off a cliff. I set steak on the grill and kept my phone face down. Jenna stayed upstairs a long time. When she finally came down, she was back in leggings, hair in a clip, no gloss. A costume change, not an explanation. She kept her distance. "You didn't text." "About dinner in my own house." I turned the steak. "I just mean courtesy." Courtesy is telling the truth when your husband pulls into the driveway and you look like you stepped out of a magazine. "Can we not?" She snatched a canned seltzer from the fridge. "I'm tired." "Then eat early and sleep." I flipped the steak to a plate. "I don't do vague with people I share a bed with." She took a long sip, eyes on the open back door. "Your tone is cold, and yours is evasive." She rolled her eyes, walked away, and I let it go. For the moment. You can't win chess by yelling at the pieces. After dinner, I cleaned the kitchen, set the plate in the dishwasher, and put a sticky note over the sink. "Replace filter, so tomorrow wouldn't get lost in a motion theater." I moved to the garage to grab a roll of contractor bags for the linen closet idea she'd abandoned. The night outside was clear. I left the garage door cracked to breathe air. Headlights swept the wall. Too close. Too fast. Her bumper kissed the garage threshold with a dull crunch, metal on frame. The sound ricocheted in the concrete shell. "Are you kidding me?" she snapped before I could step forward. She cut the engine, jumped out, and glared at the sensor. "You never fix anything." The light didn't come on. "It's night," I replied. "It's dark every night." The sensor didn't. I pressed the wall switch. The light blinked to life immediately, bright, harsh. She stalled. "It didn't. Just now you." "This is great. Mark, make me feel dumb. Or we tell the truth," I said. "You were distracted, hit the lip, and now it's a scuff I'll touch up. That's all it is." She squared up. "I don't feel safe driving into a black cave. You know that. You've driven into this cave every day for 3 years." She folded her arms. "You don't listen." "I'm listening. I heard the part where you put the blame on a bulb." Her voice rose. "You want me to say I messed up? Is that it?" "Fine. I messed up. Happy. I want you to stop making noise to hide the real problem." "What real problem?" "The one that started at noon when you staged an exit and called it groceries." Her jaw flexed. "You're so cold. I can't do this if you're going to be cold." "Then warm yourself with honesty." She stared in the light's buzz. I kept my arms loose. I wasn't playing referee to a tantrum designed to push me into a bad clip. Not doing it. I'm going inside, she said, chin high. You can fix your sensor. It works, I answered. She made a dismissive sound and left me standing with her fresh scuff. In the kitchen, she stomped, slammed a cabinet for volume. I turned off the grill and closed the garage. She waited near the counter, tapping her fingers. You ever notice how you never fight for us? She asked. I don't fight for people who insult me to avoid saying simple things. There it is. No heart. Just logic. I set the contractor bags on the counter, calm. You're angry about something that's not lighting. Say it, or don't. But don't throw it at me like confetti and call it love. She barked a laugh without humor. I'm going to bed. Do that. She pivoted and left her shoes in the hall in a way that said, move them and we've got another case. I stepped around them and didn't give her the clip. Night dragged. I dozed on the couch. At 11:30, heels clicked on the stairs. I didn't look up right away. The sound said enough. When I did, she was in a black dress that hugged her plan, red lipstick, hair brushed to shine. She avoided eye contact. I'm going to breathe with the girls, she announced like a weather report. At midnight, I uncrossed my legs. In that dress. Don't do the thing, she snapped. I need air. Air's free on the back patio. Tonight you're not going anywhere. That caught her. The defiance bleached from her face, not because I raised my voice, but because I didn't. You don't control me, she said, but quieter. I control my house. No smoke screens. We talk or we sleep. Those are the options. Her mouth opened, shut. You're being controlling. I'm being clear. I'm not playing chaperone to a vague girl's thing that got invented after a driveway improv. Park it. She waited for me to blink. I didn't. She huffed, heels scratching at the hardwood for exit points. Then she turned and climbed back upstairs in silence. First brick moved. My rules, not hers. In my head, a clock started. You can't keep pretending everything is fine once you hear your own voice draw a line. And when someone is building a narrative, silence is their material. My job was not to fill it for her. I slept 4 hours and woke to coffee already brewed. The kitchen was cooler than usual. Jenna stood at the island, hair in a loose knot, no makeup, mug in both hands. She had the soft face people wear when they want to reset the board without paying for the previous move. I overreacted, she began. About the garage. I poured myself a cup, waited. I've been stressed, she went on. You're gone all the time. When you're here, you're not here. Meaning, you're distant. You don't touch me. You don't ask. I sipped. Touch isn't the issue. Disrespect is. Last night wasn't about a light. The driveway wasn't about groceries. I hate that you're like this. She set her mug down. Everything is evidence to you. Because you've turned our house into a courtroom without noticing. I'm saying I'm unhappy, she shot back. I need space. There it is, I said. The word. You hear what you want. I hear you preparing cover to come and go with no questions. You're impossible. She shoved the mug away. You used to fight for us. I don't perform for the camera, you're aiming at me. I shook my head. If you want to talk, talk. If you want to disappear, disappear. But stop pretending I'm the reason you can't breathe. She walked to the sink, ran water loud. You're twisting it. Call it straight then. She turned the water off. I'm sorry about the tone, she muttered. Let's hit reset. Reset requires truth. You up for that? Her eyes slid away. I need to get to errands. I let her go. I also ended a couple of routines. I moved our joint calendar off my phone and created a new one for me alone. I canceled a Saturday dinner with neighbors that she liked to use as a stage for small public digs. I emailed my project team and shifted next week's client call from our living room to my office. No drama. Facts. I took back time, space, and audience. That afternoon, she texted a picture of a salad from the cafe near the gym. Want one? A small olive branch. Midday softness. Already ate, I replied. Thanks. She sent a thumbs up. Smoothed edges, no ownership. A first illusion of change. For 2 days we orbited. Basic talk. Weather and laundry. Then, a week later, she floated into the kitchen with a towel on her head and a bright tone used by people pitching a fundraiser. Girls are planning a little escape, she said, scrolling her phone. Couple days. Sunday, loose connection. Where? I asked. She shrugged. Not nailed down. Somewhere warm, obviously. When? Soonish, she said. I need it. Book it and send me the itinerary, I said. That's not necessary. She bit her lip. We'll see. Spontaneous. Spontaneous is for people with nothing at stake. I slid my laptop shut. You live in a house with me. You want to disappear? You choose either clarity or distance. Both won't happen. Oh my gosh, Mark, it's a girl's trip. Stop being corporate. No drama, I said. Just send the details. She laughed, like I'd confirmed her cold husband file. You won't understand. You're right, I said. I'll watch. That night, after she went upstairs, I tried to open her Instagram to check if the girl's trip was real. I got a blank page. Then I tried her other app. Same. Blocked clean across the board. I stared at the phone a long second. Not hurt, not surprised. Just confirming. I didn't text. I didn't ask. On my end, I stopped sharing my location and took my name off 2 auto payments she liked. Monthly facials and a boutique membership she forgot she had until it was time to treat herself. Not punitive, just math. Separate budgets for separate lives. I scheduled a weekend hike with my friend Nate instead of the Sunday brunch she'd penciled without asking me. 2 days later, her younger sister Brooke knocked. No text. A bundle of nerves under a hoodie. Brooke is 26, a nurse, too honest for long cons. You got a minute? She wondered, hovering in the doorway. I waved her in. She paced, then sat, then stood again. Finally, she pulled up her phone, thumb shaking. I shouldn't, she said, but I feel gross not saying anything. Say it. She opened a story from a guy I vaguely recognized, a friend of a friend from her circle. The video panned across a balcony at a resort somewhere coastal. 2 plates on a table, breakfast untouched. In the window reflection, if you ignored the glare and looked at the angle of a wine glass, you could see a familiar profile. The fall of hair, the line of a shoulder, a dress she wore last summer. Jenna, toasting the ocean with someone a foot taller than her. Brooke swallowed. She thinks she can come back and spin this. That you'll take half the blame and it'll be handled. I breathed out. The sound rang like a decision. You didn't betray me, I told Brooke. She did. Thank you. What are you going to do? She whispered. What I should have done the moment the word air came out of her mouth. The next morning, I parked downtown near an office with a solid door and no nonsense on the walls. The lawyer was late 40s, sleeves rolled, the kind of guy who sees signs for a living. He paged through the folder I brought, screenshots of the block screens, the balcony clip, the arrival photo on my driveway when she looked like a party in daylight, the canceled dinner invites after I had pulled out of the neighbor show, a list of subscriptions I'd moved. He nodded as he flipped. Kids? He asked. No. Shared debt. Separate. House is in my name. She's on none of my business accounts. Fast, he said. Clean. We file today. You'll need a conversation at some point. But paperwork first keeps it from becoming a circus. Do it. He slid a pen across the desk. You ever dealt with a narrative builder? I'm married to one. He smiled without joy. Then you know why you're here. I signed. He shook my hand. In the lobby, I texted Brooke. Handled. She replied with a single heart, then a follow-up. I'm done covering. I'm posting what I know, no names. By late afternoon, my notifications were a slot machine. Messages from mutuals. You okay? Here if you need anything. I thought something was off. Nobody said the banned words. They didn't need to. Jenna's phone stayed quiet on my end. Digital silence is its own speech. That night, I packed a small bag and drove north to Sedona. I needed pine and red rock, not drinks and explanations. Brooke asked if she could tag along. I'm not running away with your sister's husband, she said, half joking, half check. I just want air too, the real kind. Ground rules, I told her at the gas station. No touching, no blurry lines. We hike, we eat, we sleep in separate cabins, and we keep our mouths simple. Please, she snorted. I'm not trying to make my life a meme. We walked a 3-mile loop the next morning. She talked about night shifts and the way people in pain get mean. I talked about power tools and how they don't lie. The trees did their quiet work. At dawn on day 2, my phone lit up. Why didn't you pick me up at the airport? Jenna texted. You knew I was flying home. I stood on the overlook and watched the first light push the ridge into color. Then I typed, on purpose. And yes, your sister talked. A flood of missed calls followed. She tried 7 times. I picked up once, set the phone on speaker so Brooke could hear it if we were going to be accused of shadows later. Where are you? Jenna demanded. The background noise told me she was in a rideshare. Where are you right now? Sedona, I answered. With who? I didn't flinch. Brooke. The line crackled with all the things she wanted to call me. You're unbelievable. You're trying to hurt me. I'm choosing peace, I replied. You chose your company. I chose mine. You're with my sister? I'm with a person who doesn't lie to me about groceries. She switched tactics on a dime. We need to talk, she rushed. I can explain. Please. I was scared. You're so cold. We can get help. Therapy. Start fresh. I'm not starting fresh with someone who just came back from a girl's trip with a mystery shadow on a balcony. You were with someone else. I'm not playing detective or counselor. I'm done. So that's it. You give up. I ended the call. I didn't repeat myself or wave reasons. The highway back to Scottsdale would be my silence. On the drive south, my phone shook with 30 more calls. I ignored them all. Every noise she made just built her storyline. I wasn't a co-author. Back home, the house smelled like vanilla candles and lemon cleaner, her favorite return ritual. Countertops gleamed the way she thinks sincerity does. The table had place settings like a magazine. Jenna stood at the island with wet eyes and softer hands. She'd dressed down for wholesome. Sweater and jeans, no gloss, a picture captioned, I'm the good one. Mark, she started, voice trembling just enough to win sympathy in a backyard crowd. I messed up. I was afraid. I felt alone. You've been distant. You booked flights, blocked me everywhere, and staged a reset without the bill. I said evenly. That's not fear. That's a plan. I wanted sun, she whispered. I just wanted to feel alive. You're alive, I replied. You just don't want consequences. We can fix this, she pleaded. Therapy. We'll go every week. I'm open to actions, I said. So tell me how you plan to repair what you broke. She blinked. I'm telling you I'm sorry. That's a sound, not a plan. What do you change? What do you give up? What do you rebuild and how? Her face went blank the way a screen does when it loses Wi-Fi. She hadn't thought that far. She'd planned the candles and the sweater, not the repair. I need you to meet me halfway, she murmured. I told her. This is past halfway. You filed. The tears dried fast, replaced by disbelief. You filed without me. You made decisions without me, I answered. I'm matching your energy. She grabbed a chair back, like it could steady the story. We can go to counseling and withdraw. Stop, I cut in. I gave you a simple prompt. Name actions. You've got nothing. That's the measure. She stared at me for a long beat, then reached for old weapons. You never fight, she tried. You're emotionally empty. A real man fights. A real man doesn't wrestle with fog, I replied. He opens a window. Her eyes slid to the suitcase I'd set by the door when I came home. So this is it. You think you're some hero. I think I'm done letting you write my lines. I walked to the door, turned the deadbolt, then opened it wide. I didn't yell. I didn't posture. I stepped aside and lifted my hand toward the driveway. She followed the motion, face shifting through every mask I'd seen the last 2 weeks. She understood what it meant. Control gone, comfort gone, status gone. The house was my ground again, and the rules were mine. You're throwing me out? She demanded, testing the word as if it might collapse if said out loud. I'm asking you to leave today, I said. Go to your sister. Or your friends. Or the sun. You're cruel. I'm precise. She stood there, scanning for a lifeline. None were left. She grabbed her purse, the same one she'd crushed in her fist on the driveway. She walked past me without a slam. I closed the door on the vanilla smell and got what I wanted before I knew I wanted it. Quiet. I sat on the bench and tied my shoes. Then I changed the alarm code and moved the spare key from the porch into my toolbox. I texted Brooke. She's headed your way. Brooke replied, I'll keep it practical. 10 minutes later, Jenna's car reversed out. I didn't watch it turn the corner. That was the moment the rope snapped, the call from the mountain and the door at home. After that, everything was paperwork and logistics. She tried again the next day, softer. I didn't know how to say I was unhappy, she texted. It got away from me. I typed back. You knew exactly how to book tickets, block me, and play hostess when you returned. You're not confused. You're just out of runway. She sent, please don't make me look bad. I answered, you made yourself look accurate. I packed her remaining things into boxes, labeled each one simply: closet, bath, desk. No venom, just inventory. I left them in the garage for Brooke to pick up. When Brooke pulled into the driveway, she stood next to the bumper scuff, toe tapping the concrete. "She'll say you're heartless," she warned. "She can." I lifted a box. Truth doesn't need applause. Brooke helped me load. As we worked, she said, "You know the thing that surprises me? How quiet you are." "Noise is how she wins," I said. Brooke nodded. "I'm sorry it went there." "I'm not. It's clean." On Monday, I rearranged the house like a shop after a change in ownership. The framed couple's photos came down. The guest room became a gym. The office door got a lock. I called the yard guy and cut down the bougainvillea she loved because it scratched the windows and she'd refused to trim it, calling it romantic. I like clean lines. I put in clean lines. Work met the new version of me the same week. My project partner, Luis, leaned in my office doorway with a to-go cup, eyes curious. "You good?" he asked. "Better," I said. "You want to push the Scottsdale install next month? We can do downtown instead." "Keep the schedule," I replied. "Just don't route any more calls through my home." He grinned. "Boundary upgrade." Noted. "Also," I added, "no more Friday dinners with clients at my place. We'll do lunches in the city." "Copy." Luis lifted his cup. "For what it's worth, you sound taller." I moved some furniture around. He chuckled and left me to my calendar. Jenna's second illusion came that week, aggressively sweet. She texted a photo of our first picnic spot from years ago, captioned, "Remember this? Can we meet there? I'll bring your favorite." The old trick, memory is bait. I let the picture sit. Then I answered, "No, I'm not scheduling nostalgia." She sent, "I'm trying." Then, "You're making it impossible." "No," I replied. "I'm making it clear." That night, she took our situation public by omission. She posted a story with a Bible verse about forgiveness over a photo of a sunset. The messages poured again, from her side, not mine. I didn't reply to any. I went to the garage and sanded the scuff off her bumper line until it faded. It's remarkable how a small repair can close a loop. Problem, tool, result. People aren't bumpers. I accept that. But I can be a man who fixes real things instead of chasing ghosts. A week later, my lawyer called. Paperwork acknowledged, process moving. "You're handling this," he said, surprised. "Most people either beg or burn. I prefer exits." He paused. "She's going to pitch reconciliation. They all do when the ground shifts." She already did. "How'd you answer?" I asked for a plan. She had sentiment instead. He chuckled. "That's universal. Keep it moving," I told him. In the neighborhood, people pretended not to know. The guy across the street, Greg, the one who always forgets trash pickup, stopped me by the mailbox. "Everything all right?" he asked, eyebrows high like he wasn't hoping for drama. "Everything is honest," I said. "That bad, huh?" "It's better." I walked back inside and closed the blinds. Days stacked. My mornings got quiet enough I could hear the ice maker click. I started lifting before sunrise and taking early calls with clients who respect bullet points. When the house is yours in fact and feeling, coffee tastes like a decision. The only time I saw Jenna again before the final signatures was 2 weeks after the door, mid-afternoon. I came home from work and found the front walk swept. The same vanilla smoke curled from the hall. She'd let herself in with a spare I hadn't tracked. My mistake. She was at the kitchen table, hands folded like a student waiting for a teacher. "You changed the code," she said, "and missed the rock under the fake plant." I replied, picking it up and pocketing the key. "That's corrected." "I'm not here to fight," she murmured. "I'm here to take responsibility." "Let's hear it." She inhaled, eyes wet. I was selfish. I was cruel. I let people fill my head with options. Not responsibility, I noted. "I'm saying I'm sorry. And I'm asking, again, what are you changing?" She blinked. "I'll go to counseling. I'll delete my apps for a while. I'll be more present." "For who?" I asked. "For you," she said quickly. "I don't need a present version of a dishonest person. I need an honest person. Those are different species." She flinched. "You think you're perfect?" "No, I think I'm done." I pointed at the boxes in the garage through the window. "Your things are labeled. Brooke knows. You've never cared about me," she spat, mask sliding. "You just need a woman who sits quiet and says yes." I smiled without humor. I need a woman who respects herself enough to respect me. That used to be you. It isn't now. She looked past me at the family photos I'd taken down. She noticed the empty walls and knew it wasn't theater. You're not going to give me one more chance. I gave you a dozen small ones. You used them to test where the fence was. Now you know. She gathered her bag slowly, like the scene might reverse if she moved in slow motion. At the door she turned. You'll regret this. I regret being late to my own life, I answered. I don't regret ending your story in it. She left. I locked the door. I moved through the house, collected the last totems, 2 mugs with sappy quotes, a throw pillow she loved for photos more than comfort, a little tray for rings she never wore at home, and put them in a final box. The rest was administrative. Sign here. Acknowledge there. Mutuals chose sides or silence. Most surprised me by choosing quiet respect. The ones who didn't, I unfollowed in my head. A month later, it was done enough that my shoulders understood it. The day the papers landed with the final stamp, I drove out past the edge of town to a builder I know and signed on a small place with a flat roof and clean angles. Not big, but mine. The garage has good lighting. The kitchen fits how I live. I bought a used, reliable truck that hauls and doesn't care what it looks like in photos. I put a bench by the front door that feels like me. Work accelerated. When your home isn't a stage, your focus is brutal in a good way. I took on a new client in Tempe and one in Mesa, dialed my calendar to something I wanted years ago. I found myself on a Friday, standing in my new kitchen, listening to a game on the radio, not missing the candle smoke. Friends showed up different. Nate dropped by with ribs. Luis brought his kid and let him play with my old drill on scrap wood in the driveway. Brooke came once, in daylight, with a box of Jenna's strays and a bag of groceries like Goodwill, but not the fake kind. She put lemons on the counter. She's with a friend now, Brooke said, eyes on the lemons. Not the balcony one. Another one. She moved into an apartment near Midtown. How's her script? I asked. Cracks, Brooke said. People aren't buying it the way she hoped. People rarely do once the quiet man speaks with actions. Brooke shot me a look. You okay? I'm good. I meant it. Don't worry. And for what it's worth, I appreciated you in the middle. She nodded. You deserve peace. A few weeks later, a woman at the climbing gym asked me if I was using the bench. Her name was Claire. She's in commercial landscaping, short nails, blunt questions. We took a lap, then coffee. She didn't ask for a tour of my emotions. She asked if I liked my truck and if I could help her move a planter. We laughed easy. I told her straight that my last chapter was recent and I moved slow. She said slow is fine. With her, there's no scent of tactics. We make plans and keep them. When we don't, we say why like adults. That's it. That's the magic. One evening, months out, Jenna texted from an unknown number. I drove past the old house, she wrote. Looks empty. It looks honest, I replied. No hard feelings, she tried. No feelings, I answered. Take care. I blocked the number. Not from anger, because I keep the rules for myself too. The final time I saw any echo of who she'd been to me, I got it secondhand. Greg from across the street told Nate at a barbecue that Jenna had started showing up less put together, no more entry poses. She took a job at a boutique and worked weekends. Her posts got fewer. The crowd that used to egg her on drifted toward the next person with a glittering crisis. That's how it goes when the camera moves. I'm not cheering at her results. I'm not dancing on anything. I simply note. She bet on staying comfortable while creating a second life. She lost both. On a Sunday now, I do my list. I cut wood. I make calls. I send Brooke a picture of a lemon tree I planted from the seeds she left that day. She sends a thumbs up and a photo of a sunrise from a hospital parking lot after a hard shift. One night, Claire leaned on my tailgate while I coiled an extension cord. You ever think you were too hard? She asked, not accusing, just curious. I was exact, I said. People call it hard when they've been getting away with soft lies. She smiled and tossed me the end of the cord. Fair. We drove out to a trailhead to watch the sky go dark without candles. The truck didn't care. Neither did I. My phone stayed face down, not because I was trying to prove a point, but because points were over. If I had to sum it up for a friend over a beer, I'd say this. I ignored little signals until they got big enough to slap me awake on a driveway at 2 in the afternoon. After that, I stopped negotiating with the fog. I set rules in my house, moved my money, changed my schedule, looked a plan in the eye, and acted faster than the script could reframe me. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't chase. I didn't smash anything to feel alive. I changed the code, showed the door, signed the papers, and planted a tree. And when she stood in our kitchen and begged for a reset without a bill, I asked the only question that matters. How do you fix betrayal? She had no answer. That was the answer. So I gave her mine at the door. You knew what company you wanted? I told her. I know mine. Then I pointed outside. That's not anger. That's clarity. That's the sound of a man keeping his own respect.